In spring 2018, I signed up for a special topics class that focused on fairy tales and how they influence modern stories. It was a smaller class of about 20 students, and it was held in Merwin Hall in a classroom meant for about 50 people. I didn't like the classroom anyway because it was too big and it was freezing. I always wore a sweatshirt and long pants in that class so I could stay focused. The 3 whiteboards at the front and on the sides of the room made me think about the cleanliness of hospitals. The windows at the back of the room showed the green of the trees outside. During the 3-hour class, we had a workshop where we would write something inspired by a fairy tale and share it. Everyone was required to print out the students' stories for that day and mark it up, providing commentary on it. They would provide feedback, both positive and constructive, in order for us to improve. I was in the 4th group, and I wrote a story about an evil queen's reign. I was the last one that class session to have their story workshopped. I asked my professor if she could read a paragraph from my piece because I didn't like hearing my own voice. When it came time for everyone to say what they thought, I was stunned at their comments. I'd been expecting them to be positive, as they had with the 3 stories before mine. Aside from focusing like a laser point on a single detail in the girl before mine's story, the general attitude in the room was excited and happy. There were 2 positive comments on my imagery setting before the tide suddenly turned. The woman getting hurt was a cop-out. Everyone does that. I didn't like it. The parents' motivation made no sense. Why kick her out of the kingdom? For 30 minutes, they tore my piece to shreds. I remember feeling like all emotion had been sucked out of me. Cold spread all over my body, from the tips of my fingers inward towards my chest. At the same time, heat went straight to my face. I wanted to run out of the room and never go back. I wanted to burn everything I had ever written. I felt like a failure, and I wondered why I had ever thought I could be a writer. How could I ever think that I could share my stories with other people? I was completely numb, and anxiety made my chest physically ache. I struggled for months afterward and refused to show anyone anything. I stopped giving in-depth feedback to my classmates. Why should I say anything about their work when mine wasn't any good? I hid the story away on my flash drive, hoping that I would be able to look at it one day without tearing up. I hoped that the story would vanish off it and be lost in cyberspace forever. Months after that, my father informed me that he had sent my fairy tale to a customer from CVS who was also an author. This author sent me a ton of compliments about my story, with the only somewhat negative thing being that the ending was a little bit too rushed. Then I found out that he was publishing an anthology and that I had won 3rd place in it. Despite my father sending my fairy tale to an author and winning an award, the negative comments from my classmates stuck like glitter to a canvas in my brain. I still hesitate before I show people my writing, and I don't write with as much enthusiasm as I used to. My brain still gnaws at me, and I hear a little voice in my head telling me that other people hate my writing. I stew on ideas for longer than I used to, and I doubt everything about them. Instead of using my free time to write, I choose to do something else. I keep working towards moving forward. I try to push the little voice out of my head and write. I remember the fairy tale idea coming to me with a jolt. I remember how I stayed up half the night, waiting to share my piece with everyone. I remember deciding that I liked to write psychological pieces, and that no one would ever take that away from me.